All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to talk about Errol Spence Jr. and Jaron Ennis, and something that the trainer for Errol Spence Jr. had to say about the young gun coming up. Gotta love it. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we are going to be in the 147-pound division talking about Jaron Boots Ennis and Errol Spence Jr. and something that trainer Derrick James had to say about Jaron Ennis. Also, a couple other fighters, and to me, it is really good news, and I certainly hope that that Errol Spence Jr. feels the same way. But going to give an admission at the end of covering that about Terrence Crawford. But before I do that, let's welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you are a longtime subscriber and supporter, like my guy, Upper Echelon, thank you so much for the great conversation we had in the live stream today. Thank you for your continued support for the channel. It really does mean a lot. And thank you to everybody that supports in the super chats and the cash apps. That is how we're able to continue the channel in those live streams. And also thank you to the growing number of people that are supporting in the super thanks, which you can see in the lower right-hand corner of your screen with a heart and a dollar sign. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. All right, so Derrick James is the trainer of Errol Spence Jr. and he has to be this year. He has to be this year the universally recognized trainer of the year because of what he accomplished this year. First thing that he did early in the year of 2022 was he got an undisputed champion in Jermell Charlo when he beat Brian Castano in the rematch, improved significantly between the first and the second fight, which the first one was a draw between Jermell and Brian Castano. The second time, Derrick James and Jermell Charlo come back and get a knockout, become the undisputed champion. The second thing that he did is he had Errol Spence Jr. Unify, became a 3-belt title holder against Yordenis Ugas, who is a very, very tough fighter, unified those 3 belts in that particular fight. And then to cap off the year in December, he has another one of his proteges, Frank Martin, in a fight that going into it was a 50-50 fight with Michelle Rivera to rise up in the rankings of the sanctioning bodies. And Frank Martin completely outclasses Michelle Rivera. I had it a complete shutout. So, if it's one fighter and maybe a chance, 2 fighters, maybe it's luck. 3 fighters, nah. You got a whole stable of people doing their thing. He gets trainer of the year. Very, very happy for him in that regard. Long overdue, in my opinion, or excuse me. I think he got messed over a few times on that, but this time he's going to get it by everybody involved. They can't give it to Eddie Reynoso because Canelo lost. But believe it, they would have tried. But anyway, he was in a interview with Brian Custer. And Brian Custer asked him, Oswei's asked a lot about, what was going on with his fights with, the Terrence Crawford and questions around that. I got a different video up about that, so won't address that in this particular video. But he specifically asked about Jaron Ennis, and he also talks about Keith Thurman. But the Jaron Ennis thing was the most important to me because for me, Jaron Ennis is the up-and-coming guy in 147-pound. I think that he is, in that age range of fighters that are under the 25 years old and younger, right? Versus the vets in the game like Errol Spence and Jermell and Terrence Crawford and Canelo and Deontay Wilder. Those guys are over 30 years old, but the young guns coming up, the guys like, I think Gervonta Davis is a little bit older than that, but just say, Shakur Stevenson, Devin Haney, Jaron Ennis, Jared Anderson, Virgil Ortiz, guys like that. I think that he is the up and coming #1 type guy in that whole age range of fighters. And at this point in time, maybe one of the most talented. He was asked what fights, Derrick James was asked, what fights excite you as a trainer for Errol in the division? And he said, man, you know, a lot of guys excite me, but the first guy that he named was Jaron Ennis, and say, yeah, man, that's a good fighter, you know, excites me. Then he moves on and he says, you know, other guys like, you know, Virgil Ortiz is also a good fighter out there. But it was really, really nice to hear him acknowledge that Jaron Ennis was there. If you recall, Jaron Ennis, when he fought Custio Clayton to become the IBF #1 contender, I at the time, and many people at the time thought that had made him the mandatory when he beat Custio Clayton on the undercard of the Jermell Charlo Brian Castano fight for Undisputed early this year when he knocked out Brian Castano. I think he might have knocked out not Brian Castano, Custio Clayton. When he knocked out Custio Clayton, you know, Errol Spence Jr. was at the was ringside, and Jaron and Errol Spence had that shouting back and forth. I think that is a good thing, and hopefully that's a fight that can take place. Obviously, you know, at this fight that Jaron Ennis has next against Karen Kudayev. I know I'm going to kill his name, so I don't want to do that. But Kareem, the guy from, I think he's a Ukrainian fighter, from the Ukraine. He's going to be fighting on the undercard of the Gervonta Davis. I think he's the co-main event actually on the Gervonta Davis Hector Garcia fight. After that fight should be to become Errol Spence Jr.'s mandatory. So that's good that, you know, that they said that they're excited for that fight. And I hope that fight takes place. However, the way that I see it going, and I have to tell you, preferably, I don't want to see Jaron Ennis fight Errol Spence Jr. as a mandatory. I want to see Jaron Ennis fight Errol Spence Jr. in an undisputed fight. And that, I believe, could take place if Jaron Ennis and Terrence Crawford fight. You know, as is, even though, you know, Derrick James didn't really get into it didn't acknowledge it really about, you know, the mandatory fight with Keith Thurman. But he was asked about that, and he said, you know, I understand that Keith Thurman wants his shot. He's a really good fighter and all of that. But, you know, obviously, you know, the hurdle for that and saying that you're excited about the fight is the fact that his fighter, Errol Spence, does not want to fight Keith Thurman. And I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, deep down, Derrick James didn't have a little bit of that same feeling where, you know, they feel like they were ducked by Keith Thurman early in their career. And I'm like, you know, I ain't so sure that I really want to give this dude, you know, that same opportunity, you know, that he declined me. But, you know, whatever the case is, I don't really know whether or not he's going to be able to get out of that fight without dropping a belt. You know what I mean? So more than likely he's going to fight that. And since he's going to more than likely fight that, and Jaron Ennis is probably going to have to wait till after Virgil Ortiz Stanionis fight the winner of the Virgil Ortiz Stanionis, who will become his WBA mandatory, I just much prefer to see Jaron Ennis go ahead and fight Terrence Crawford and, you know, and do it that way. But anyway, I do appreciate, though, that he said he was excited about it. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.